So, guys, I think I may have messed up.
What's up?
Well, so every time we do a show, I sometimes mess up the open. And now that we're doing this thing live, there's really no going back anymore. Anyways, welcome to episode 25 of the SwitchCore podcast. I am joined, as always, by Charlie,
What is up? How's it going?
by Mr. Drew,
Hey, what's going
and,
on?
I, and I'm Jeremy. Thanks for joining us. Charlie and I and Drew and Scott, who can't be here today, have been kind of working tirelessly, mostly Charlie, at getting this whole video thing set up. It's an idea we've had for a long time, and it doesn't change anything for anybody who's already been consuming this podcast through audio and plans to continue to do that. But it just gives us another layer of media that we hit. So thanks for joining us. If you guys are watching us live on Twitch, watching the VOD on YouTube, or once again listening to us through the normal RSS stream. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about today, but I just want to catch up a little bit. So Charlie, what have you been up to, man, over the last week, other than getting this thing set to go? And by the way, thank you again for getting this thing rolling.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, mostly this, I guess. Well, that, and then I started streaming myself outside of just this. So getting my own stream set up, learning a lot about OBS and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean that's mostly it. That and beating everybody else's records in Mario Odyssey, just continuing that trend.
That's only because I'm not there playing Mario Odyssey anymore to beat
Oh
your
yeah.
scores.
Oh yeah. No, me and Cosmo had a good time beating one of the guys in chat's RC car challenge time. Oh my god.
I
think-
still haven't even found the RC car challenge.
Don't. It's a waste of time. just go on. Like the difference between like the world record score and like number 3,000 on the list is like less than a second.
That's crazy.
It's so hard, dude. Me and Cosmo played for like 2 or 3 hours straight just to beat that guy's score. And he was so mad when we did. Oh, he was mad. It was funny.
I love the games that do that. Like, you don't expect Mario Odyssey to have like a leaderboard system.
Nope.
Um, and you guys kind of talked about it last week, and I'm probably reiterating a bunch of these points, but I think you said it, Drew, that you wish that some of the mini games in Breath of the Wild would have had a leaderboard feature to allow you to kind of go back to that game and continue to play it and experience it in new ways that maybe you wouldn't expect out of a Zelda game.
Oh yeah. Like there's a YouTube video of a guy who he does the glider challenge in Breath of the Wild, but he glides from that position all the way to Eventide Island on like the
How?
other side of the map. Bomb arrows and updrafts.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
smart. I guess I never thought about doing that.
Did you guys know, speaking of gliding, did you know that in Mario Odyssey you can glide across the entire map as Glide-On?
I just learned that last night.
It's not a glitch.
Huh.
You just waggle. If you just waggle, you just keep up. It's ridiculous.
Nintendo
Nobody
waggle
nobody
controls.
knew. Like nobody knew. Everyone was like, you just can't you can't glide with Glide-On very long. It's like, no, if you just waggle, you're up in the air for like a whole map. You can cross the entirety of the Sand Kingdom with him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. it's
People
pretty
still
crazy.
figuring stuff out about Mario. People still figuring stuff out about Zelda too, which is crazy.
Yeah.
What, you drew anything interesting over the last week since you guys last recorded?
Let's see. I picked up Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah?
Because Best Buy had their pre-Black Friday sale and they had it up for $16 with Gamers Club Unlocked. So I
Nice,
was
yeah,
like,
it was-
I'm jumping on that.
I was thinking about picking it up because I've got this PS4 Pro now, and yeah, it was $20, but I didn't end up biting on it. I probably should have.
Yeah, no, but I have enjoyed it so far. There's a lot of things I like about the game. There's some stuff like the physics is kind of weird. There's some weird stuff with physics. But overall, I have enjoyed the game quite a bit. And it's when I bought it, I was like, okay, this is going to help hold me over until Pokemon next week. And so that's what I've been doing to try and distract myself from looking at spoilers. But yeah, overall, I went into the game expecting a little, and I came out liking it a lot more than I thought.
So, from what you've played of it so far, and obviously you probably can't speak too much to it because you spent a relative short amount of time in it, do you think that the conversations that people have between, let's just say, Mario Odyssey doesn't exist, does the conversation between Zelda Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn for Game of the Year hold up?
Maybe.
Or do you think it's pretty much a lock in that case for Breath of the Wild? Like I said, if Odyssey doesn't exist.
So, right. And here's what I'll say about that is I played Horizon and I like enjoyed what I was doing. And then I got the amiibo, the champion amiibo, so I was trying to unlock some of the helmets. And so I turned on Breath of the Wild again, and I just get such let me word this correctly. The world feels much more alive in Breath of the Wild than it does in Horizon, and that in itself really sucks me in. And the fact that I can climb and have so much more freedom than I do in Breath of the Wild than Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't know. I went back to Breath of the Wild and was like, man, Horizon's a good game, but it doesn't really have a whole lot on Breath of the Wild.
It's also a franchise that we've been playing for the last, well, not us personally for 30 years, but a franchise that's been alive for the last 30 years with characters that you care about, whereas, Horizon is a brand new game.
And it's true. Some of my feelings might have to do with nostalgia a little bit. But overall, I'd still say Breath of the Wild is my preferred game.
Okay. Now let's talk about Mario Odyssey. Just real quick. If you guys, well, actually, no, I'm going to come back to that. Anything else, though? Horizon Zero Dawn?
My wife's been trying to get a shiny Oddish in Pokemon for like weeks, and so I've helped her with some breeding, and still no luck, but that's it.
Cool. I've been playing Destiny 2. How was I on the last show? Was I kind of down on Destiny 2 then? I think I said that I screwed up by buying the PS4 Pro because I wasn't coming back to Destiny. Okay.
Yeah,
that's right.
I couldn't remember because I've had other conversations with other people. My opinion has started to shift. And mostly because I found people to play with, specifically my brothers, who I don't get to hang out with very frequently. So the fact that the three of us can get together, play a game, that game is much better experience. And everybody always says this with a party, with people to play with. So it's been, going through the campaign for the third time in the last month was kind of a drag. But once I got past that and started getting to the end game stuff is when that game started to kick in, especially when the three of us were doing nightfalls and weekly strikes and stuff together. So if you guys are down on Destiny and you've been playing alone, it might be worth giving it another shake if you find some friends to play with. So that's that. I picked up Rocket League on the Switch. That came out yesterday at the time of this recording. And that game is Rocket League. It's good. It's not quite as pretty as it is on PC, but I don't think anybody expected that. But that being said, it plays just as well. 60 frames per second. It's smooth. And it's got cross-platform like right out of the gate. So if you are playing on Switch, you're going to be playing against people on PC, on Xbox One. I don't think PlayStation 4. So there's still like 90,000 people sitting in there playing concurrently, and you're not going to have any trouble finding a match. I think I've found matches probably within 10 seconds of starting to look for one every time I've played a match.
Yep.
So, and I'm Mr. MVP in Rocket League. That's what they call me.
Oh, all right. Cool. Yeah.
Aside from that, I saw Thor Ragnarok last night.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's
I've heard really good things.
Dude, it's a great movie. That movie is so much fun. Like, if you're going into it expecting, I don't know, just like another one of those, Marvel films that has grown stale over the last couple years, I think you'd be surprised that it's not quite that, because it's a fun movie. It's funny. Like, I caught myself laughing out loud several times, louder than anybody else in the theater, to the point where I thought everybody sitting behind me was looking at me in like weird ways. Just kind of a funny story about my experience there. So my buddy ordered us tickets and he asked me, "Hey, where do you want to sit?" And I said, "Row C or D," because it's assigned seating because they've got one of the things these movie theaters are trying to do to, gain more people in seats is kind of overhauling the movie theater movie going experience. So they put in these like luxury leather recliners.
That's what we have too. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff, dude.
Yeah, my local theater. So I get excited about going to the movies now because I'm comfortable. There was an instance a few months ago where I actually fell asleep watching. What movie was it? I don't remember, but I fell asleep watching. Oh, Ghost in the Shell, that Scarlett Johansson flick. So we get to our seats, what we think are our seats, and trailers were just about to end, and these bro dudes, right? They come up down the road. They're like, "You guys are in our seats," and like had a bad attitude about it. And I just posed the question. I'm like, "Oh man, like, are you sure? Like, I'm pretty sure we're in row C." He's like, "No, this is row D. The sign's right on the aisle." I'm like, "Okay, dude. Like, we'll move." And my buddy's like, "Yo, calm down, bro. Like, it's gonna be fine." So we get up, we move, not a big deal. I turn to my buddy Chris, and I'm like, "Joke's on them because my recliner didn't work." So now we're in good seats, and like I can actually hit the button and like recline. But the guys who were super like salty about us being in their seats, one of them did not have a working recliner. So I was happy that they were being dicks and then got what they deserved.
Yeah, is that an AMC theater?
No, it's a Cinemark.
Weird. Yeah, no, dude, I saw Thor as well. It's like a road trip movie.
Dude, it's good. And there's some like
Yeah.
actual really good fight scenes in that, like some really like cool moments with the fighting where Thor is just kind of a badass in a couple parts. So
Yeah.
check it out if you guys haven't seen it. I think you'll enjoy it and be pleasantly surprised by how much fun that movie is. Probably the best way of putting it. I've said it like 4 times already. Movie's fun.
Now, I did go see a movie. It wasn't Thor, but I saw Pokemon. I
Oh
Choose
God, I knew it.
You. I did. I
Were you
went with a
outraged?
bunch of-
Don't say what happens.
I won't. I wasn't.
But were you outraged by the thing people are outraged about?
I wasn't. I was a little weirded out, but wasn't outraged.
It's not the first time that's happened though.
I
There is an episode where every single Pokemon do that.
I think I know which one you're talking
It's
about.
a fever
then.
dream of one, but it's an episode. Yeah.
But yeah. Overall, like
Susan, I did not know. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt for a second because Susan's
Okay.
typing in chat. Susan, I did not know what happened ahead of today when I went to Nintendo Life and they posted an article and it was right in the freaking title. I was so mad. All right, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. And a lot of people, I think you're right that a lot of people don't know because you go to theaters and like someone filmed a reaction of an entire theater and so many people were like, "What
Yeah.
the heck is going on?" Overall, I think the movie was good, at least for like the first half, and then the first half was getting really good and it had a lot of potential to just end off really well, and then the second half was sort of jumbled. It was like they didn't know exactly where they were going, but they knew kind of what they wanted to do, and then it kind of just fell flat near the end. But overall, it was impressive for a Pokemon movie. I will say that.
I still want to see it. I just don't think that it's been playing around here, or I just haven't really cared enough to go outwardly find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, dude, reclining seats with some popcorn. It's a good time.
That's true. For so a lot of different theaters, they call it a lot of different things, but a lot of them have like the big screen experience.
Yeah.
Some theaters like AMC, it's IMAX, right?
Mhm.
At Cinemark, it's XD. So this was like an XD movie experience when I went and saw Thor. So yeah, dude, I could totally get down with some XD Pokemon. That would be fantastic.
The animation in that movie though is absolutely off the charts.
From what I've seen in trailers, yeah, it's amazing.
Gorgeous. Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
I knew. So if we had that jingle ready, Charlie, we could have already hit the Pokemon Perils with Drew, whatever we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
Button twice at this point, or really 3 times because you said your wife was hunting shinies.
Yeah. You might have to get that button ready at all times. I could
Yeah.
just go on a tangent.
Oh man, Charlie's over there worrying about something. I don't know what.
I think the I think I just made a mistake and minimized the screen for a second, so our cams might have froze.
Nah, just start and reset the thing.
No,
Anyway,
we're good. We're good. Yeah.
We're good. Okay, this is great audio for the people that are listening at home, just listening to the audio. You guys want to hop into some topics?
Yeah,
As long
let's
as they're
do it.
hot topics. That
So-
was not intentional.
Hot topics was not intentional.
Let's do
I've
it.
been into a hot topic only to buy band T-shirts. That's it. Back in my emo days in high school.
I go on Hot Topic now because is it
Yeah,
Hot
they got
Topic?
video game shirts.
Is it Hot Topic that bought ThinkGeek, or was it no GameStop bought ThinkGeek?
GameStop,
yeah,
yeah.
last second because Hot Top was going to buy them anyway. What's really important here is the Mario movie. That's
Yeah, I
what's
was
really
just gonna
important.
say.
Yeah,
So-
do you not know about this?
No, so yeah, like Illumination is
Yeah.
apparently in talks with Nintendo, who's a Universal company, so that makes a whole lot of sense, right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, really. And I mean, despite the fact that the Minions are kind of garbage by most
wrong.
people's standards, right? Like, I think a lot of people say like, okay, yeah, Minions kind of suck, but Despicable Me was a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, it spawned like one of the worst franchises ever, but like the movie itself was really good, and their animation is fantastic. So I think they're going to do a good job if it's real.
I've got a question though. While we're talking about Minions, so are Minions a bad version of an already bad Rabbids character, or
Yes.
is Rabbids okay? That's what it is. It's not the other way around.
Yeah, Rabbids were way before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, like with the stuff with Universal Studios in Japan getting a Super Mario World themed theme park in 2020, I believe, and then in I think California and Orlando, in Florida, sometime to follow. It makes perfect sense for Universal to be working with Nintendo for a Mario movie. I mean, Nintendo's getting their licensing right, and it's not going to be another shitty 1993 Super Mario Brothers live action film. It's going to be an animated film. I'm down. I'm like ready for this. Like, when's it going to happen? I want it right now.
I mean, probably soon. Really, like, I don't know. They're just this is one of those things where it's like partially rumory, partially based on fact. Like, there's we don't really know for sure right now. But everything that I'm seeing is saying that like, oh yeah, this is something that is happening, and they're close to closing a deal, and they're going to start. It's probably going to be a couple of years, I'd assume.
Yeah, I mean, normally pre-production to finished product is probably a 3 to 4 year process.
Yeah.
It just depends on maybe somebody's already got a script for this thing, or maybe that's why they've already been in talks for a year to try to figure that stuff out. Who's going to write the script or whatever. So,
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they do in just a straight up storytelling sense how Mario saves Peach from Bowser.
Yeah. No. I think you mean how Mario steals Peach away from Bowser, her only true loving husband.
That's yes.
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
my
really
bad.
how it
That's-
works. Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah. Overall, I think that people are getting way too worried about the Mario movie or the fact that it's done by Illumination. I think that people are freaking out too much because like Illumination's animation isn't bad. People just have a bad taste in their mouth because they don't like Minions or things like that. Overall, it's too soon to tell. If it was a Mario Minions crossover, I'd start to worry.
That's
Oh,
what it's gonna
God.
be. Dude, it happened with Rabbids. I got one side of the evil, like little minion character. So
Man,
who's
but,
to say?
At this point, if Nintendo can pull it off with Rabbids and Mario, I have no idea. I can't judge anything they do from now on, at least with Mario.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, it'll be fun to see. All right, moving right along. I see LA Noir here.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
you guys notice? I'll let you hop into it in a second, but I noticed that LA Noir is $10 more and I know this has come up before, but you're
Yeah.
talking about a $40 game on Xbox One and PlayStation 4,
Yep.
and a $50 game then on the Switch,
Yep.
and still $50 digitally on the Switch.
Yep.
That pisses me off.
Well, this is where it gets weird because I mean we've talked about this before, but whenever you put a game out with a physical release day one, okay, so it gets interesting. Indie games can get around it because usually what happens is like an indie game will come out and then later on they'll pay a company to do a limited run physical release, right?
Right.
But if you're gonna mass produce a bunch of copies and want them on every Walmart shelf, like day one, like Nintendo, you have to essentially go through Nintendo to get a lot of that stuff done. And Nintendo doesn't have a choice. Well, if they want their games to be sold physically at Walmart, they don't have a choice. But they have to sign a contract that says that, hey, the MSRP of our physical version and digital version will be equal the day of release.
Right. In
So-
order for retailers to buy them.
Yeah, and the Switch carts, we know for a fact, this has been said multiple times, are far more expensive than discs. So when you sell that product, you know they're not going to make less money on the thing they just ported. So they're going to add the cost of the cart to it. And
So then,
yeah,
at what point then do we see like AAA games that aren't like HD re-releases that launch day and date with Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions that are $60 in those consoles that we see them on Switch for $70?
I don't
When
know
does
if they're
that
going
happen?
to. I don't know if they're going to, but it could. I'm not like defending it entirely, right? I'm just saying I get where they're coming from. Like I guess a lot of people try and frame it like, oh, these greedy companies are out to just get $10 out of Switch owners, and it's like it's not really what's happening, but
I don't think
I
they'd
get it.
risk going over $60.
I don't think they would either. That's how I feel about it.
Like
Yeah.
with a lower cost game like $30-$40, like it makes a bit of sense for them to try and get that that extra revenue back from printing on a cartridge. But $60, you do above that, and a lot of people are gonna say, I don't know, I might have bought this, but that extra $10 not looking too great for me. I might skip.
Yeah, you got to think too. Like they had to pay to get LA Noire ported, right? Like it's not like they just took a game and copy and pasted it and are selling it.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
they're
a
doing that-
damn
they're-
good port.
I was gonna say they're doing that to the Xbox One and PS4 versions anyway. Like they're already porting that game from the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and that the development's not an argument there, in my opinion. But yeah, it's the price of the cards. Like we know, like the last I saw was that the 8 GB version of the Switch carts are the same price, like at price parity with dual layer Blu-rays that they produce Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games on.
Mhm.
However, the 32 gig carts that are produced are 60% more expensive than Blu-ray discs. So LA Noire, probably a relatively large game, probably decided to manufacture them on 32 gig carts and released it for $10 more than what it is on the other system. Whereas you have a game like NBA 2K, which launched day and date, well, actually a little bit later at the physical version, but still at $60.
Mm-hmm.
But it had a 25 gigabyte day one patch for the Switch.
Which one
So
would you
they
rather
probably,
have?
right, exactly. So like they probably produced those on 8 gig carts. I don't know for sure. I could be very wrong. But then opted just to offload the rest of that data to downloads
Mm-hmm.
instead of paying the extra money for the carts.
Yep.
So which would you rather have? For me, I don't care. Like I'll have 828 gig memory cards if I need to.
Yeah.
But that's a built-in cost for me over the lifespan of the Switch, and I knew that going in
yeah.
because the way I want to play games is 100% digital on that system.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, but like at the end of the day, it's like if what's interesting is the $10 extra price is something that, as long as the port's really good and it's a good quality game, like people are willing to pay it, right? They're willing to justify that. It doesn't feel gross yet. It hasn't been done in a way that felt weird, but when you're paying for a version of the game and then you have to download 2/3 of it anyway, despite the fact that you paid for a physical copy of the game, people get really upset. So it's like, well, if you're a developer, are you going to say, let's just give them a physical cart and let them download the rest, and then have them all get mad at us and get bad press, or would you rather release the full thing and charge $10 extra and not get bad press?
Yeah.
Historically, one turns out better for the developer than the other.
Or you could do what RPG Advocate is talking about, where some developers have given you.
That's what a lot of devs have done. That's what a lot of devs have done. A lot of the indie devs were like, oh, hey, if you buy the physical copy, we actually made this like really cool old school game manual in the style of like the Legend of Zelda game manual that we put into the game. It's like, that's awesome. Like, it's a cool collectible item. It justifies the price. Like, I already own a couple of games, and I'm like, I own like 5 digital copies of Cave Story, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna go buy it physically just because I want the little booklet that's the side of it. Like, it's just, it's so stupid, I know, but it's cool. I don't know.
It's crazy.
It doesn't bother me that much.
At this point right now, we're only 6 years removed from when I bought The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword on Wii for $60, but it came with a gold Wii Remote Plus.
Yep.
Which is a $40 peripheral. So, like, did I pay $20 for that game, or did I get a Wii Remote for $10?
Yeah.
Because either way, it's a really, really good deal.
Wait, was that $60?
Yeah, I could have sworn it was a little more than $60.
No, because the Wii sold their games at $50 from first party. So, I remember it was only $10 more than a regular price game.
Yeah, no,
I didn't have a Wii Remote, and I needed a Wii Remote Plus because I didn't have one. I still had my OG Wii Remotes. So, yeah, it was totally a good deal. I still have that gold Wii Remote. Unfortunately, I left batteries in there for 4 years, and they just completely dematerialized all over the inside of that controller. So it's basically rendered useless at this point.
Okay. So it's actually $70.
Either way, still a great deal.
Wii Remote Plus and the 25th anniversary sound CD, that's killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo always killing it with their Zelda stuff. Aren't they doing a Zelda Breath of the Wild new packaging at some point here soon?
They are. It comes with a map and a little explorer guide, and it's pretty cool. I like it.
I don't want to buy that game digitally again, but I might have to, or physically rather.
Yeah, but I mean, the real thing about LA Noire though is how good of a port it is. If you compare the footage of the LA Noire version of Switch, to the PS4 Pro footage, it looks nearly identical.
Yeah, they're very minor differences.
Yeah,
but geez, I saw that. I mean, you look at the Doom comparisons, and it's okay, obviously there's a difference here.
Oh, sure. But, still look good, but yeah.
Right, but LA Noire, you'd be hard pressed to say that the versions look really that different.
They don't. Even with the 4K patch, it's I mean, yeah, it's a little higher res because 4K, but I mean, it doesn't really look that different. It's pretty impressive. The lighting and shadows all seem to be the same.
They made some changes to the way dialogue goes in that game too, right? I mean, it wasn't just cosmetic changes that they've made. They've actually made some changes to the content.
Well, I think the dialogue is all the same. They just changed the label of the 3 choices you have.
Oh, that's literally it?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
now
okay.
it's good cop, bad cop, and
accused or something?
Yeah.
Accused, apparently right. The way it used to be made it kind of sound like the main character was a psychopath in a couple of situations.
Nice.
So they were like, this is kind of weird. Yeah.
American Psycho.
Yeah, people apparently thought it was kind of weird, so they changed it. And it's I mean, hey, it's fine.
So, while LA Noire, this re-release, will not be eligible for Game of the Year this year because it came out a few years ago, let's talk about some games maybe that are going to be eligible for Game of the Year in Jeff Keighley's Game Awards.
Yeah, man. I'm going to pull up the list of the awards right now.
Breath of the Wild's in every category.
Yeah.
So is Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
So in case you guys didn't see, the Game Awards are going to be hosted once again through different streaming services such as Twitch, YouTube would be my best estimation. We'll be coming at you in 4K this year. I don't know if it was last year or not. And on December 7th at I think 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific, if you were interested to know when that show airs. So we're just about 3.5 weeks, about 3 weeks away from that.
Yeah, I also want to point out something I just realized. This is not a one-time vote. You vote every day.
Yeah, yeah. You can
Okay.
definitely make an impact here. Well, there's going to be theoretically millions of people voting, so how much of an impact do you really have?
You
Although
can you can also
that's
vote for which game you think has the most impact.
yes, games for impact. I forget which game won that last year. Oh, was that one where the dad made a game for his son who died?
Yeah.
That
The
was I mean that was a good category that
yeah, it's
year.
called That Dragon Cancer. Yeah.
Yeah, that was I wanted to play that. Like that trailer made me cry. And I'm like mad at myself that I still haven't played that game.
Hmm. Yeah, there's some weird stuff. Like I know some people were upset about PUBG being, what was it, Game of the Year
Yeah, nominated
candidate?
for Game of the Year, yeah. So number one, that game is not even a game yet. It's still in early
Yeah,
access.
it's an
So
early access game with really just
jank.
it's an early access game that barely works and has microtransactions in it already. It's like, are you fucking serious?
I mean, we can argue about like what games deserve to be in Game of the Year category, the same way we argue amongst ourselves about how to do reviews on our website.
Oh sure, yeah,
The fact of the matter is, it's a game that you can play, and people are enjoying it maybe more than they enjoy every other game that they've played this year.
mm-hmm.
However, when that game is officially released, which actually may be happening at the end of this month, it's going. I believe it's going 1.0 in December on
Okay.
PC. So maybe this might be a moot point to talk about, but regardless, an unfinished game is still nominated for Game of the Year. What are those other nominees for Game of the Year, Charlie?
Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay, our thoughts on that.
Mario
Good
Odyssey.
list.
Eh,
Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild is going to win. I doubt anything else has a chance.
Yeah.
Honestly.
well, I
So
mean, PUBG has a chance simply for the fact that the huge number of people that care about voting for that game to be Game of the Year has zero overlap with Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey.
That's true.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Like, and it's a massive active fan base, so it kind of, you know,
Yeah, well, one
interesting.
point it had what 1.3 million concurrent players on
Yeah.
Steam. So I mean, that's number one. That's a record. Number two, that's super impressive. But if you're talking about quality of a game, quality of a gaming experience, and reinventing entire genres, PUBG really hasn't done that. PUBG
No.
is an extension of modifications that were in like games like Arma.
Yeah.
You know what
I mean, the guy that made PUBG made all those things, but it's not new. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to Horizon Zero Dawn. Drew can a little bit, given that he's been playing that game a little bit. But for me, it's got to be either A, Super Mario Odyssey, which is, in my estimation, one of the best games of the last 10 years, or B, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which completely revolutionized the way that you think about Zelda games. I
Yeah.
don't think that we're ever going to play another console-specific Zelda game that's not open world ever again.
Yeah, I mean, according to Aonuma, we are not. That is very true.
So
Exciting
think
stuff.
I mean, we'll have Game of the Year conversations a little bit closer to the end of the year, just amongst ourselves, probably in this sort of format. I
Yeah.
think it's going to go to Breath of the Wild. I know you guys probably disagree with me. Not for us personally. I think the Game Awards will give it to Breath of the Wild.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm actually more on that side of the fence as well. As amazing as Mario Odyssey is, and I do think it has a chance of winning, I'm leaning more towards thinking that Breath of the Wild is going to take the Game of the Year. But I do think Mario Odyssey is going to win some other categories for sure.
yeah. Like the soundtrack in Mario Odyssey, I think is one of the greatest soundtracks too of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I really
Uh,
like them soundtrack a lot. It's
Like
fantastic.
every time you're like in a new kingdom, it just seems like the music fits so well with what you're doing. It just kind of gives you like, I don't know, just the sense of belonging where you're at
Yeah.
in that point of the game.
Yeah.
So, so what other categories are there in these years
A
Game
lot.
Awards? I know there's a few
there's a
esports
ton.
categories. We don't have to talk about those.
I mean, game of the year, best game direction, best narrative, best art direction, best score in music, best audio design, best performance, games for impact, best ongoing game, best indie game, best mobile game, best handheld game, best VR AR game, best action adventure game, best RPG, best fighting game, best family game, best strategy game, best sports/racing game, best multiplayer game, most anticipated game, and then the rest are ones that aren't that big of a deal.
So
Although there is one
category
thing,
for
I will say the trending gamer category is actually really interesting this
Yeah,
year.
you're gonna give it to Andrea or Renee, aren't you?
Hell no. The only reason I'm saying this is of the 5 people, there are 2 people that do a lot that never get recognized that I think really deserve it. Which is basically Able Gamers. It's a group that specifically takes money and time and helps people that are disabled play video games.
Yeah, and like finding new ways for them to play video
Yeah,
games.
like doing research into making weird controllers and stuff for all sorts of different ailments that allow them to play games, or people that, people are elderly that are, on the verge of going senile that can be, severely helped by being with young people. They get them to play video games, get them online, and they become very social and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It would really be a shame if Able Gamers did not win that award.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the other one is this guy named Half Coordinated, who he's a speedrunner, and his whole thing is only has one hand. Or he has one arm, basically. He has, like, his arm stops, like, at his elbow, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he's a speedrunner that holds world records playing one-handed.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
It's really, really crazy. And, like, his stream will have, like, his face and then a second cam for his hand. It just shows his hand holding it. He's just doing this crazy, weird, janky stuff. He speedruns these crazy games. But he also is, like, he kind of works with the Able Gamer guys, and just a bunch of really cool stuff. And it's like Noah, I'm not trying to offend, like, Andrea Renee, but I don't think she does, like, actually impactful stuff for the gaming industry like someone like the Able Gamers does.
Yeah, like I
my
want to know
opinion.
under what premise they decided to nominate her this year. Like what did she contribute to gaming this year?
Everywhere I look, every single time she walks on stage, they call her the quote busiest woman in the business. So I'm assuming they just think she deserves it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow her. She's just not my cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah.
But whatever. Rozero has some love for Andrea.
Yeah, one of our guys in the chat. Yeah.
Drew, do you have any thoughts on some of these lists, some of these Game of the Year nominees, and maybe more specifically, who you think might take home some of these wins?
Yeesh. Just
best action adventure games could be Breath of the Wild, right?
I don't know.
And see, here's the problem I always have with some of these awards. Like, let's say Horizon Zero Dawn wins best action adventure game, but Breath of the Wild wins Game of the Year.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
So, any thoughts, Drew? Do they have a best platformer?
There's no
genre.
No,
I guess it would be an action game, right? Or action.
Mario Odyssey is in the best action adventure game category.
Action adventure. Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Was Cuphead nominated for anything?
Best indie game, best art
visual?
direction, best soundtrack, I think. I'm looking here.
Let's see. Geez, there are so many categories. It's like they want everybody to win an award.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be like
spreading the wealth.
Well, it's kind of how he goes. Here's a good controversial category that we might all have different opinions on. I don't know. Best handheld game, which I find is funny considering every single game on the Switch is handheld, but it doesn't include Switch games. It's 3DS only games. It's funny that every single game on this category is a 3DS game.
Yeah. No Vita games. I don't think any Vita games released this year.
No. It's Ever Oasis, which, yeah, right. Fire Emblem Echoes, Metroid Samus Returns, Monster Hunter Stories, and Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World.
probably got to be Metroid, right?
That's what I'm going with.
I mean, I haven't played it, but given how much fun you guys have had and the conversations that we've had about Samus Returns, I would have to say that's got to be the hands down winner. Nobody expected that game to be good, right?
Yeah, I don't really know what I expected from that game.
I got more than I expected, I will say that much.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely enjoyed it more than I anticipated.
That might be one of those games that, as family members and stuff are asking for, hey, like, what do you want for Christmas? That I say, give me that 3DS game. Give me that Metroid goodness.
Good game, dude.
Yeah, probably Horizon Zero Dawn as well. I don't actively see myself purchasing PlayStation games, so.
Yeah. Understandable. Really understandable. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard this year. It's funny. There are a lot of categories that like are mostly Nintendo games.
We've talked about this a few times, but Nintendo's lineup this year has just been crazy. So next year, you have to wonder what they're gonna.
We've had this conversation. It's gonna be better.
I hope so.
Well, yeah, Drew wasn't here for those conversations last week, so maybe we can. Or actually, it wasn't last week. It was earlier this week, and not a audio form. So we can maybe like retread some of those conversations real quick.
Okay.
Well, just quickly, yeah. I mean, I did hear a little bit of what you guys were talking about, but I couldn't listen intently.
Yeah, but now you can also chime in.
Right.
So Charlie and I were talking about Nintendo's 2018 and the fact that Nintendo plans to release apparently 30 million Switches into the wild next year, and they're going to have 15 to 20 million just during the second half of 2018 produced.
Let's clarify. They're talking like 30 to 35 million new Switches next year, not including this year. 35 in a single year. So if 35 million units are coming out, what games are they releasing that's going to push that? Plus, you have the fact that that Koizumi specifically said, "Don't count us out." Because somebody asked, "Hey, this year was so good. How are you ever going to follow it up next year?" And he basically laughed them off. He was like, "Oh, don't worry. We have a ton of IPs left. We're making a bunch of games you guys do not expect from us. Next year is going to be good." And then like 2 days later, we find out that 30 million units are being made. It's like, which apparently is going to be a record. That'll be a record 2 years if that actually sells.
Yeah.
So it's like if they're gonna make that many units, what games are you talking about? I mean, like at that point, I assume that Pokemon is happening, but Pokemon's not going to push 30 million units. It never has.
No.
It could push like 11. Apparently, it did with Breath of the Wild or with the 3DS, and this is a new console, and it's a first console Pokemon, so it might push a lot. But
and
30 million,
and one that you can play on the TV. Like, I mean, that's pretty important in itself.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's really interesting.
So we talked about it. Like Pokemon. I mean, I think there's a 50-50 chance we get Pokemon next year. Metroid. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's 50-50. It's totally up in the air for me. I have no idea what timetable to expect from Pokemon.
I think Metroid Prime 4, there's like a 10% chance that we get it next year.
Same. I do not think that's happening next year. I have zero expectations. I mean, there's the whole thing that, they haven't shown any or they only showed the name, right? That doesn't necessarily mean anything. People assume they only showed that because
they didn't have anything.
That doesn't mean they don't have anything.
Right. That just means that they didn't have anything they wanted to show us yet.
But no, I think it was one of those, hey, let's just get them a little interested, and then okay, well, what I actually think is that they probably didn't have much to show, and they just wanted to, get us, what do you call it? Like, satiate us a little bit, make us realize that, hey, we're not screwed.
We hear you.
Yeah. Like,
we know you guys want it.
We know you guys want it. It's coming, right? It'll take some time. Yeah. But they never outright, as far as I know, they never outright said it's not happening. I think there's a very low chance this happens, but if it happened, how crazy would it be if they come out and in January when they do this direct, they show footage and say it's coming out next year?
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
That-
But even
that'd
then,
be-
even if that happened, I mean, I've said this a million times. Look at sales statistics. Metroid Prime is not going to sell 30 million units.
No, it's not going to sell 30 million units, but I think this has the chance, and I've said this about a lot of things. I said it about Monster Hunter World. I'm going to say it again now. I think when Metroid Prime 4 comes out, it will be the best-selling Metroid game of all time.
It might, and that was actually part of an interesting thing I was going to ask really quick about the Game Awards stuff I just noticed.
Oh, you're going to go there. You're
Well,
going
no-
to get me thinking, and you're going to go there. Go ahead and do
Well,
it. Go ahead and go there.
So basically, there's most anticipated game, right?
Okay.
The 5 choices are God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, Last of Us Part 2, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Interesting that it's literally 100% PlayStation, but it's okay.
The same, by the way, the same 5 PlayStation games that we've seen 2 E3s and 2
I was
and
literally
2 TPSs in a
about
row.
to. I made that joke the other day. I said most anticipated game, more like a list of things at Sony's E3 for 3 years in a row, because we're going to see all 5 of these games at E3 next year.
Yeah,
Even if they're out, we're going to see these games again. They're going to take up
there's
time.
Yeah, there's going to be a God of War expansion.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous.
Well,
But so. But what I find interesting is they have all these games, and I'm really curious what's going to win, because God of War is a long-known franchise that people love. Red Dead 2 has a lot of hype behind it. Last of Us Part 2 is one of the best-selling games on the PS4. It's not. I'm thinking of something else. But it sells really well and has a huge following. Spider-Man is like their big hitter title, and Monster Hunter Worlds is a game that the media keeps talking about a lot. So it's like, it'd be really interesting if Monster Hunter World won. If that won,
It
then
won't.
I don't think it will. But what I'm getting at is if that were to win, then I might be thinking that this might sell really, really well, way outside. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I think Red Dead wins that category. By the way.
I do think so as well. I really think it will.
So here's an important question: do you guys think we'll see Retro's game next year?
Yes.
Do you
like,
think it will be
like
out
announced? Wait, hold on. Released
that
next year, or we'll see it next year?
Now, here, okay, let's split it into 2. Do you think we'll see it next year, and then do you think we'll see it and it will get released next year?
I think we'll see it in January, and I think it'll be released next year.
I think we'll see it. I don't think we'll get it.
Okay.
Now, if you let's say they're not doing a new IP, right? Let's say they're doing an existing IP. What's your best guess?
If they're doing an existing IP,
Right.
oh man, wouldn't be a Star Wars game. EA's got that locked down for better or worse.
Rare owns Perfect Dark, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just want to make sure.
Now,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be cool though if we're gonna talk about this in a little bit, but Disney just like relinquished EA's hold on Star Wars and gave it to Retro Studios?
That wouldn't happen. That'd be cool.
I have a question. To kind of, backpack off of that, Drew. Does Rare made GoldenEye, but GoldenEye doesn't own the video game license to Bond games, right? And didn't Bond just recently change movie studios? Is it possible we get not a GoldenEye game, but like a game in that vein?
I mean, it's not impossible.
And like how like could you convince somebody to buy a Bond game in 2017 that's not just a remake of GoldenEye again? I think maybe the answer to that is no.
Yeah,
Although
Slim.
Nightfire was very good on game.
I did like Nightfire.
I've heard some people talk about
On the Game
potentially getting a new Eternal Darkness game.
Okay.
Who made that game?
Extremely interesting.
Silicon
Silicon
Knights.
Knights, yeah. Which don't exist anymore.
One of the designers was Shigeru Miyamoto. They could.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense with Silicon Knights not existing anymore, and besides that, they were bought by Microsoft before their demise anyway.
Or we have some people really, really, really happy. A very, very tiny, tiny group of people that are very happy, and we end up getting like a super awesome F-Zero game with like a campaign. Like what, dude? Oh my god. Okay, hold on. What if
I know what they're making.
What if you get like an open world Grand Theft Auto almost style game, but in like Mute City?
Oh
And you
my
like run
gosh.
around and you steal these cars. You just, that would be freaking sweet.
I know what they're making, guys. I know what Retro's up to.
What's that? Go shoot.
Metroid Prime 5.
Nope. Yes, that. They're making Star Fox Adventures too.
Ha 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 ha.
Dude, I said it last time. I think a Star Fox Adventures in 2017 with an open world could be really freaking cool.
I don't know. The fact that that developers working on it has said they were incredibly excited to work on that franchise, and it's a dream come true. No,
Absolutely, dude.
No way.
Come on, man. Star Fox is storied.
Or we get Donkey Kong's Revenge. It's like a real life, like realistic bloody game.
Donkey Kong's Redemption, where after Mario beats him in the original Mario Brothers game or Donkey Kong game,
Yeah.
just he goes into hiding and starts training.
That's why they brought Pauline back.
Dude, it makes perfect sense.
The puzzle pieces.
It all comes together.
Now this lore is really going to start to make sense. We're going to figure out that Donkey Kong, yes, in fact, did become Cranky Kong.
Yeah.
So, still don't understand Mario Jr. You guys, let's make some predictions before we. I don't know if we stopped talking about the Game Awards already, but let's make a prediction because Game Awards does this every single year.
Oh God.
They have.
Yeah.
They always have announcements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Predictions on announcements. We're going to keep tally here too.
Yeah.
So, what are your predictions for something getting announced at the Game Awards this year?
Legend of Zelda DLC.
Well, okay, yes. Well,
Just
okay,
saying.
Maybe that's not obvious, but yeah. Okay, so Charlie says Legend of Zelda DLC. Drew, prediction.
Oh,
Putting you on the spot. This is high quality entertainment right here.
Reggie's Street Fighter 2. I have no clue, dude. No idea.
Oh, that would be hype, dude.
It would be very interesting if Retro's game was showed off at the Game Awards.
You
But
know,
all right. So here's if it did happen. Here's what I'm thinking. All right, bear with me a second. So it shows like a darker, grittier game, and you're thinking about it, and you're like, okay, this is probably like a PlayStation, Xbox kind of title. There's nothing to point towards anything, Xbox or PlayStation, any console. But just the dark and gritty look, it looks like something that would be on those consoles. Anyways, at the very end of the trailer, it looks pretty crazy. It says Retro Studios, Nintendo Switch. Like, I could see that appealing.
You're not wrong. I don't disagree. I don't know if I think that's going to happen, but it would be really interesting because think about the audience that watches that.
Exactly, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, people would be excited for this, and then be like, "Holy crap! This is a Switch game. This is a Nintendo game."
Yeah, I mean, and that would be really smart.
Nintendo, hire me, please.
Well, no, because it was funny because before you started talking, I was just like, "What if Nintendo like totally showed off like a cool gritty game? That'd be really cool." I don't know. It would make sense.
I think all that's right, and this is my prediction. I think that all that's right, but it's not Retro's game. I think we get a short, like 1 to 2 minute teaser, no gameplay, of Metroid Prime 4, and it's dark, it's gritty, and we see just a quick teaser trailer for Metroid Prime. I that's the dream anyway, but that's going to be also my prediction.
I mean, that'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be freaking cool.
Yeah. I mean, Riz Zero probably says the most obvious thing in the room, but he's also probably right, is that we see Hideo Kojima and more Death Stranding this year.
I'm going to make the most right prediction I think I've ever made, and I've been right a couple of times.
I don't know. You were pretty spot on with the Xbox One X. So
I know, and I'll never let you forget it either.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I wish we were on camera. You have no idea. I was basically doing backflips. I'm a big guy. That was some excitement. But anyway, so, all right. I think that at least 30% of the categories on this list are just randomly announced on the screen without any fanfare whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that happens every year.
I know, it's like the least professional thing I've ever seen in my life. He's just like
The Academy Awards does it too.
It's like oh, you're literally the best action game available, and they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, thanks. Here's some bag of Doritos and a thing. Have a good day. It's like, what? No, what are you doing? It's not like it'd be different if it was like Bet's esports team or something. But even then, it's I don't know. There's so few categories.
Few meaningful categories, right?
I mean, like I'm saying, there's so few categories here, but all of them are pretty meaningful. Like at the video awards and stuff, it's like there's weird stuff like, you know, best guy that sweeps up hair, and it's oh Steve, you got an award. Like it's just they have like 100 of them. Like they don't have a choice there, but here they have. I don't know. It just seems weird whenever it happens.
Like the thing that Susan just said in chat, like literally just gave me chills again.
Oh man, yeah.
When Imagine Dragons came out last year with Koji Kondo was a pretty special moment.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
And then for
Great.
Imagine Dragons to be the song introducing the Switch,
Yeah.
like
that's interesting.
That was cool as hell. Like, and that's not something that I put together until literally.
Yeah, me either. That's actually pretty funny. She probably told me that too, and I never realized it.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited. I don't normally get excited for the Game Award. I kind of do, but like it just there's never really a reason to get excited. Like,
I know where you're coming from. I mean, I get excited for the Game Awards simply because it's an event to look forward to, not because I honestly think they're going to be really good. No offense, Jeff Keighley. I know you try really hard. Not that you're ever going to see this anyway, but you know.
I love Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley seems okay as a person. I like that he's trying to make.
He trolled all of us pretty freaking hard, dude.
He did. Oh my gosh. Hey, look, we got over it. We have the Switches in our hands now.
Oh no, I know. I just think it was really funny. That was really funny.
But I don't know. Like he does try really hard. I mean, he did those the Spike Game Awards shows for so long, and then after that whole thing dematerialized, for him to say, okay, I've got the experience that I need to put this show together on my own. I want this to continue to live and exist and go out and do it. And there were some rough years there.
Oh yeah.
Last year was probably one of the better years.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The game announcements though is probably the thing that draws people the most to this award show, right? So that's what I'm getting excited about is if there is an outside chance that we get a Metroid Prime 4 teaser, then yeah, I'm probably going to pay attention to that show.
Did Nintendo announce anything last year?
I don't know if they announced anything. I think they 2 years ago they showed the
2 years
Breath
ago.
of the Wild.
Yes.
Right?
What about last year?
I think they may have shown more stuff for Breath of the Wild.
Last year they showed the ruins in the ruins trailer for Breath of the Wild.
Okay, so it wasn't anything massive so I've seen it pointed out multiple times that for some reason Nintendo does this thing with them where it seems like every other year they'd have something interesting. They have something substantial, right? So like they, I think they announced Breath of the Wild. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, sorry. That's what it was like. They announced Breath of the Wild. Then the year after that, it was like everyone was like, oh yeah, everyone's like, oh nothing's happening. But they announced that Cranky Kong was going to be playable in Tropical Freeze, and everyone's like, we expected like a cool game announcement, Nintendo. What the hell? Like, you can't just announce Cranky Kong and like think it's gonna follow. And then the year after that, they did nothing, I think, is what happened. And then last year was like, oh, here's some like Zelda Breath of the Wild footage again.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that this is the year that if Nintendo, since last year was kind of an off year, that maybe we get an announcement from them.
I'm hoping. I mean, we don't really know. I thought there was a better pattern in my head, but then once I worked it out, I was like, actually, that's not even a pattern at all. I don't know. I mean, I idealistically like want something big. I think the DLC might be the biggest thing we get.
Wait a second. I just realized something.
What's up?
Where's the Industry Icon Award this year?
There isn't one.
Wait, so time out. He made up that award just to give it to Kojima, and he's not bringing it back?
Maybe he did it. Okay, no. I don't think that's what happened. I think he had the plan of doing that, and then he got so much flack for it that he stopped.
I
I know. I agree with you.
You're gonna get more flack for it now from me personally.
Yeah.
Mr. Video Games himself. That's me, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you gave it to your buddy, and now you're just gonna not give it away anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up, bro. Like, I don't know, Jeff Keighley. I just had nice things to say about you about 2 minutes ago. I take them all back. I'm kidding, but it is kind of messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think most people watch for the awards. I mean, after last year, I'm sorry. There is no world in which Undertale did not deserve best music last year. You can argue best game, whatever, that's fine. Best music, though? Nah. That hands down should have won that award. I don't even think it was in that category.
Do you remember when I did like that one stream of Undertale? Just my
Yes, I absolutely do, and you need to finish it because it's fantastic.
That overall bewilderment I had with that game is fantastic. I need to get back to it.
You need to, dude. It's so good. It's such an entertaining game to watch people play.
So one announcement for video games that probably won't be happening at the Video Game Awards is an announcement of Netflix coming to the Switch. However, we did just get Hulu for the Switch. I'm just segueing all over the place, guys.
Yeah, we did, but I mean, I don't know. You say that, but to be honest, we could wake up tomorrow and Netflix is on the Switch. Because tomorrow is a Thursday.
Hey, Thursday.
That could be cool.
Well, because here's the thing. There was a rumor that, or I don't know if you want to call it rumor. It was weird. There's a guy who basically had a screenshot of an email that he received from Netflix customer service because he was like, "Hey, are you guys putting on the Switch?" And the thing is, customer service. Some companies might know, some companies might not. Depends on the person. They might like be buddies with a dev that's working on something. You know, it depends on the company. But he asked if Netflix was coming, and they said we already have it ready. We're just waiting for Nintendo to let us put it out. Right? That's what he was told. It could be complete BS. We have no proof of this, right? But the chief, the vice president of technology, who also happens to be the head or the founder of Factor 5 Games, was on Nintendo Voice Chat last week and was talking about Factor 5 Games and their history with Nintendo and what they might be doing in the future. And I guess with all of that, they got to talk about Hulu, and they were like, "Yeah, we just released Hulu today." And people seem to really like it, and you know the voice chat, the IGN guys were talking about how good it was, and it looked fantastic. And then they asked him like, well, what took so long? And they said, well, the app's been done for a while, but the problem is there's an encryption, like a signal encryption that is standard on every device that's required for video streaming, and Nintendo didn't have it ready. They purposely had it locked out until they were ready. They probably had some stuff going on the back end with security or something that they wanted to be sure of before they opened it up. They enabled the encryption, and Hulu worked immediately, and they were able to release it. So that could be the same case with Netflix. That could be the same case with Crunchyroll. That could be the same case with all these apps. And you know what may have happened is they tested it and went, oh, there's a few bugs we got to work out. It might take us a week or two. So I mean, it could be any week or it could be never. We don't really know right now. But it could be.
I'm obviously more interested in Netflix than I am Hulu because I don't have a Hulu account right now. I used to I had one for years, but I realized that I stopped watching, like, you know, broadcast TV shows, cable network TV shows, other than Game of Thrones. So
yeah.
Drew, you don't have a Hulu account, do you?
I do.
Did you get a chance to test it out at all?
I did. It worked really, really well.
So is that like a thing that you recommend is, laying down, get ready to go to bed, just popping your Switch in your lap and watch some TV? Have you done that at all?
I haven't used the Switch portably, but it has been nice just to be able to, like if I'm playing a game and then my wife's like, hey, let's watch a show, I'd be like, oh, okay, fine. And then I just go back to the main menu, boot up the Hulu app without having to worry about, doing anything else. It is nice to have all these different apps and services on the same device. Even though I mainly use my Switch for gaming, there are occasions where I'm like, man, I kind of wish I had Hulu or Netflix, and now that I have Hulu, that that works out.
Yeah, I used it portably a little bit and then plugged it in and watched uh, Lilo and Stitch for the first time ever. Actually, I'd never seen the movie until I watched it. And number one, that movie's fantastic, and I loved every second of it. But one thing I will say is on that Switch screen, Hulu is crisp. Man, it looks good. Yeah, especially like go back and watch the Disney movies. Oh, like I pulled on what is probably my. I'm not trying to give it a critical rating, but just like personally to me, my favorite Disney movie. Of course, now I'm blanking on the name because I just said that, and now I'm going to look silly. One of my favorite Disney movies. I turn it on, and it is Fox and the Hound. I'm silly. I absolutely love Fox and the Hound.
Good choice.
I used to watch it when I was a little kid when I was sick, even though it's like the saddest movie ever. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like, I mean, I sat there looking at it and I was just like jaw on the floor, like, this looks awesome on this little screen. I didn't expect it to look that good. But yeah, so I really like it.
We know that like transitioning from portable with games to docked and, you know, with a controller is pretty seamless. Is that same experience there with the video apps?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it goes from like 720p on the display
Yeah.
to 1080p on the TV.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. I get more and more excited as each day passes to get Netflix on that thing.
Yep.
Videos are just ran. Anyways,
We lost
Say
you
that
there.
again.
We lost you again.
all right.
There you are.
All right. That at the are rendering at 1080p even on the Switch screen into the dock. It just
It's all very interesting. Drew, I legitimately can't hear you.
Yeah, dude, you're gone. I don't know what just happened there.
You may have lost connection.
Yeah, that's okay. It's fine.
Charlie, like,
Well.
you may have to... Oh, did we get Drew back?
I think I'm back now.
Okay, cool.
Like I said, my internet is crap.
Yeah. We
all right.
noticed.
Is it possible that the videos render at 1080p even on a 720p screen, so it doesn't have to do a lot of work?
If they just get
transitioning
downscaled, you mean?
resolution over?
I mean, it would be getting downscaled, basically, like dynamically downscaled.
Right, like super sampled, sort of.
Yeah.
Or-
I mean, maybe. I don't know,
yeah.
honestly.
I'd be interested to see if that's something they do to reduce the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
wouldn't
that's
know what was
why-
involved.
And maybe that's why your experience with Fox and the Hound was so great, is that maybe it was super sampling. So
Yeah, maybe. I mean, whatever's going on, man, it looked really nice. Like, I don't know. I grew up watching that movie on VHS, so looking at that thing the way it looked, I mean, compared to what my memories of the movie looked like, it was like somebody was flipping the cells right in front of me. Like, it just looked so crisp. I was like, oh my god, I love this. Oh. Yeah, it was great. I want to get everything. I want Crunchyroll. I know it probably never happened. I'd love to get Discord on it. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah, and running in the background.
yeah, that'd be cool, but I doubt it. Oh, actually, wasn't there... I feel like Discord said something about that at some point.
They did. They said they were interested at having Discord on the Switch.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
We have no idea if that's actually going to happen. Crunchyroll, I could see happening because it was
definitely.
on the Wii U. So
Definitely. It's a weeb console. Let's do it.
Woo.
Yeah. I mean, it makes too much sense. But you know what doesn't make sense? Electronic Arts.
Oh.
There's no super sampling over there. Well, there's probably a ton of super sampling over there, but not in a good way.
Yeah, no. Let's, ugh. I mean, man, elephant in the room that we've been trying not to talk about. I mean, yeah. Hashtag freaky A, right?
Yeah.
Man, it was, oh my god. I'll just go ahead and start. So, if you don't know, I'm not going to try to make this take forever. Battlefront 2 has loot boxes. They're pay to win, incredibly unfair, price gouging like crazy, and in order to get everything in the game, it's going to take you. I don't remember the exact number. I think last time it was like 6,000 hours or just whatever it is. It's an astronomical amount of time to unlock everything in that game without paying money. And even if you pay money, it's like I know it's greater than $1,000 estimated currently to unlock everything.
Yeah, it's like 1,200 or something.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
You're talking about thousands of hours or thousands of dollars.
Yes,
or some combination thereof.
Yeah. And I happened to be watching Angry Joe last night. I was watching it with the guy in chat, Arctic, and oh my god, a guy donated $50 and said, "Buy loot boxes. I want to see how bad this is." And they're like, "No, we're not going to." And eventually, chat was like, "He gave it to you for that reason. Go ahead." So he did, and they bought $40 worth of loot boxes. They bought $50 worth of loot boxes, and then Joe put in $10 of his own money and bought another set for a reason. So they spent, it's like $40 or $50 they spent on trooper boxes, which are boxes that specifically give you gear for the troopers, which are just the standard foot soldiers, right? Because you can be a vehicle, a standard like trooper, or you can be a hero character. So trooper boxes give you like poses and star cards, which are like upgrades for those characters, and apparently weapons you should just get in the boxes, which they said, it's not pay to win, but I mean, you literally get better weapons. Some of the weapons you can get like some of them get 500 headshots before you can unlock this weapon. It's like, I just got it day one because I paid $1,000. That's fair, and they're not like, it's not like just a variation. It's an incredibly good gun, so that's pretty unfair. But they spent all this money, right? And with the trooper boxes, he got it was like 100 plus common cards. So there's common, uncommon, rare, and epic. He got like 100 plus commons, 14 uncommon, and of the uncommon, 3 of them were duplicates. So he only got 11 unique cards, 2 rares, and no epics, because you can't get epics at all through loot boxes. So here's the thing. It's like EA took the epics out of the boxes because their idea was, this will make it not pay to win because you still can't get these things. You can't get the epics, right? But even then, you could still get 15 or 20% damage reduction and added damage, or 50% more fire rate on vehicles, just absurd things, or heroes. You can't just assist. Yeah, auto aim assist, heroes that are incredibly powerful that take a long time to unlock. You can get this in these boxes, and it's like, it's absurd. But so he spends like the $50 on these loot boxes, gets essentially nothing. The other thing too is, it seems, this might be pure conjecture, but it seems like it specifically tries to give you boxes that that aren't for the things you play the most. Because he got almost nothing for the class he plays the most. He only got stuff he doesn't want. And like all the poses are literally like this. It's like, this is normal pose. This is the epic pose. This is another pose. Like, they're not even moving. They're not doing anything cool. It's like, it's all the same crap. Like, and you can look at every single pose. There is not a single pose that is even marginally cool looking. It's like this. Like, it's nothing crazy. And then he bought the hero boxes and, again, got nothing, basically. I think I forget the numbers, but he got a shitload of commons, a couple of rares, or a couple of uncommons. As far as I know, he didn't get a single rare, not even a single blue out of $10.
That's ridiculous.
And it's just like, are you joking? like if I was somebody like the whales of the whales, the people that are going to spend, $1,000 or $2,000 on the game, I guess they get their money's worth, right? But I wouldn't even think of their money's worth, but they get the best stuff they can, right? But if you're looking at spending $50, it's not worth it. Like, if I was even interested in spending $50 in loot boxes, because a lot of people do that, they'll be like, I'll give the game $20, $30 more. It's not worth it. You get nothing. You get like nothing. Not only that, not only is the rarity, like, drop rate super low, the number of cards in each pack is random. So sometimes you'll get 4, sometimes you'll get 5. How many do you get? And whatever we feel like giving you this pack. Like, it's so seedy. And then when you buy a hero pack where you're supposed to get these powerful heroes, you can still get trooper cards and vehicle cards. So they seed the most in the trooper packs cost more than every other pack. So you buy the trooper pack hoping that you'll get a chance to get a cool, like, epic character, and they'll be like, oh, here's like a pose and a weapon for a character you haven't unlocked yet because he's an epic hero that you don't have. But if you wouldn't it also be cool if we gave you a gun and some trooper poses? It's like, no. I don't, because one of those cards or one of those crates, people are saying it can take upwards of 4 hours of gameplay to unlock a single crate. Could you imagine playing for 4 hours unlocking a crate and all you get out of it is 4 brown cards that give you nothing for a character you want?
And then you get into the issue of the fact that credits, you can only earn a certain amount of credits in a certain amount of time, and it will lock
every 3
you
hours.
Out every 3 hours.
But it's okay now, right? Because they reduced the cost of certain heroes by 75%, right?
But they reduced the cost. They reduced the rate of credit access by 75%. So it's the
right,
same.
Listen, EA, here's how you solve the problem. You reduce the cost of your game by 100%, and then this is marginally okay.
Yeah,
marginally, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just make it. Yeah, make it a completely free to play game, and people who play shitty free to play games will play your game and give you money.
Right.
I won't be playing your game ever. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. Even if they fix literally everything wrong with the game, if they just deleted loot boxes from the game and said it's a $60 experience, DLC still free, we're sorry, I would never play that game, because it is clear what EA wants to do. Right? It taints everything. It's like looking back at the Xbox One, right? So when you look at the Xbox One, originally they were going to make it this big online only thing, and people got really, really mad and they backpedaled, right? But it didn't help them. In the end of the day, that controversy pushed so many people away from that brand that they hurt themselves a lot in the long run. And that's what this is going to do. Even if they backpedaled completely, it wouldn't fix it, which is why they're not going to get rid of loot boxes. They're just going to keep them there, and the people that are going to give them $1,000 are going to do it anyway, and they're going to make their money. They're not going to learn their lesson.
It's sad, too, because, I mean, not too long ago, EA shut down Visceral Studios.
Yep.
And
Bye,
then,
BioWare.
Yeah. BioWare might be... Who knows? BioWare might be next. But what I'm guessing is what happened. The reason that they got rid of Visceral and shut down the game that they were working on, by the way, which I was kind of excited for what, Amy Hennig had up her sleeve.
Me too.
That cleared up funding for them to go and actually fully purchase Respawn, which is another bit of news that we haven't talked about yet. But, so 2 things. Number 1, that kind of upsets me because Respawn was formed by ex-Infinity Ward guys who were pissed that they had the thumb of the man at Activision hovering over top of them.
Yep.
And basically controlling every move they made with those Call of Duty games. So what happens next? They get bought by like a worse company.
The man's company. Man, yeah.
The man's man, right?
How the turns have tabled.
Exactly.
Yep.
But that makes me so worried for what's going to happen with the Titanfall game that Respawn is working on, or sorry, the Star Wars game that Respawn is working on, and B, Titanfall 3 if it happens, what that's going to do to the burn card system in that game. Because the burn card system in Titanfall 1 and 2 is actually pretty cool. It modifies the game, it does give you advantages, but you earn burn cards as quickly as anybody else earns burn cards in that game. Mm-hmm. And there are ways to combat that stuff if you're just a good player, or if you know how to defend against that kind of stuff with your own burn cards, So, and that system that Respawn has in place, while I find it a good system, is just going to be taken advantage of by what EA probably has planned for the inevitable, well, not necessarily inevitable, but if Titanfall were to return, which who knows if it does with the way that game sold. So
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, I just don't understand it. And by the way, Arctic put a link in chat here. Says unlocking everything in Battlefront 2 requires 4,528 hours of play, or $2,100, 61 cents.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. I mean, Charlie, you and I kind of talked about it a little bit before when we were getting set up. At what point does Disney step in and said, you are damaging our IP in a way that we are not okay with?
That point is probably once it starts to hit mainstream media, which, oh, guess what happened today? BBC made an article about it. BBC was like, oh, looks like, and they literally said in that article that EA is selling a Disney is allowing a Star Wars game to go out that sells gambling to children. That's literally in the article. Oh man, that is when you don't mess with the mouse, man. You don't do it.
I feel bad for the unsuspecting parents who have their credit cards tied to their Xbox Live accounts that they let their children play on when they start to get these credit card bills. And what is this? EA services on my credit card statement.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that this has been a long time coming, and I'm really glad that it's blowing up right now in the way that it is, because hopefully it'll force developers and big companies to rethink the ways that they're building things.
Yeah. So, kind of similar, but not really. Hearthstone is built on a system of basically loot boxes, right? You open up card packs to buy games. However, that's a free-to-play game. And if you play any card game, Pokemon trading card game, Magic the Gathering, where you actually have and buy physical cards, there is a completely random, we'll call it gambling, element to those games. So for a digital game to mimic physical mediums, I think that's okay. But if it's a video game, there is this, I don't know, this idea that we have about the way games are supposed to be made and how games are supposed to play. You earn cards and packs way too slowly in a game like Hearthstone. And I think it's gotten worse from what I've been reading around the internet. It's been a while since I've played, so I could be completely, false here. But do we see, like, if the backlash is great enough, do we actually see big publishers or big developers actually back off of microtransactions to some extent for a while? Or do you think that it's only going to get worse from here?
I doubt it. I doubt it from the perspective of free-to-play games, right? Because so many people are, the sentiment keeps being echoed that if it's free to play, there's a lot more leeway, right? Because you're not asking me to spend any money, right? It's sort of expected that in those games, I'm not purchasing a product ever. I am using a service in which I am being asked to play or pay, right? Play a whole bunch or pay a whole bunch, usually. Like Hearthstone is a game that if you want to be very competitive in that game, it is not cheap. It is highly... Most people agree, at least at the high level gameplay, right? At the high level in that game, that the game is too expensive to be able to play professionally. It's prohibitively expensive to be a pro player, right? Even if you're really good, you're not going to most likely have the cards to do it. However, it's free to play, and it at least has the dusting system, where, like, imagine if you pulled a lever on a slot machine, and every time you did, it gave you, essentially a couple pennies back that eventually you could use to... Or it's like, it'd almost be like, you're playing a slot machine that specifically gives you toys out. But eventually, even if you get no toy out of the slot machine, you can just get enough tickets from it that you get a little bit of every time to just go get the toy yourself. Yeah. That's sort of like, it's kind of hard to explain, but the fact that you can eventually build certain cards through a long time of play makes it slightly less annoying. Not completely, but like I would argue that would make the loot box system in Overwatch way more fair, but I'm not going to get into that argument.
Yeah, I mean, it's not dissimilar to outright dust in the way that it works in Destiny,
Yeah.
other than like you have the opportunity if you have enough dust in Hearthstone to buy the card at any time.
Yeah.
In Destiny, you have to wait for that item to be for sale by the merchant, which who knows when that's going to happen. So
Yeah.
as much as I have been kind of an apologist for certain microtransaction schemes, I am definitely not going to defend EA.
I don't think you can. I
No,
don't.
there's no way to.
Like,
there were some,
I was.
weren't there some people that were trying to defend EA, specifically EA employees?
What? A guy that said he was an EA employee? Absolutely, right?
Right.
But no. So there was a guy on Twitter, long story short. He was like, oh, yeah, man, I'm an EA employee. These guys are just armchair programmers. They have no idea what they're talking about. I got 7 death threats and like thousands of emails. This is ridiculous. As an EA employee, what we're doing is good game design, and we're just trying to make the best stuff for the player, whatever. Turns out, Jason Schreier, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. What? Did we just lose Rift?
Yeah, which means that our video is probably all screwed up right now. There it is. We're good.
Sorry about that. So yeah, Jason Schreier over at Kotaku did some incredibly awesome investigative journalism, which that guy, by the way, that guy single-handedly keeps Kotaku relevant by actually doing really, really good work.
Why is that guy not gaming industry?
I don't know. He needs to be. That guy needs to be an industry icon. Heck, he does so much good stuff. But yeah, he started looking into it and was like, wait a second. So this guy has no record on LinkedIn or anything of ever being part of EA. I can't find any link to anybody that even remotely fits your description with the name Sean, because this guy's name was like 333 Big Sean or something like that. It was something Big Sean. And so he looked into that and he was like, that's kind of weird. And then he started looking through his old tweets, and it was like, at one point he said, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. He said, oh yeah, just entering my 4th year at EA, really stoked. And then like 2 years ago he said, 2 years ago he was like, yeah, it's like I'm 4 months into my first year EA, really excited. It's like, wait, what? And so Jason contacted him through Twitter and was like, hey, really sorry to hear about the death threats. Like that, that's not a laughing matter. Regardless of the situation, it's no joke. That's not good. No one should be doing that, which obviously I think we all agree with. No matter how angry you are, no justification for that at all. So it's like, with all this happening, it's... Oh, yeah, sorry, what he was saying. Long story short, he goes through and is like, what's going on here? Like, I can't find any information about you. There seems to be no correlation with you and EA ever in history. Like, can you give me some sort of explanation what's going on? Like, I just want to get the story straight. Immediately, within 5 minutes, everything referencing EA anywhere on his Twitter was completely deleted, and the guy never responded. It's like, oh, convenient.
Yeah, that's super convenient.
Yeah.
What? No, I never said that.
Excuse me.
EA. Single-handedly, like, destroying the video game industry.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. No bueno.
Drew.
What's up?
I don't know. You've been quiet. You've been
You've been
having some Discord issues too, I think.
Yeah, my Discord crashed for a minute, but I mean, you guys are saying everything that I am thinking, so it's just absolutely ridiculous. Dice did an AMA today and like said basically nothing, like, to assuage people's fears. It was just, we're making adjustments as we hear from other people. It's like, well, lowering the number of hours to getting a character doesn't fix an inherently stupid and broken system.
And from what it sounds like is they're not really even doing that, so.
No. It's just, it's dumb. I've listened to quite a few reviewers and say, I hate playing a $60 game that feels like a mobile game.
Yeah.
And
Dude.
yeah, I don't know what else to say other than I'm just I shouldn't have even thought that Battlefront 2 would be better, because at E3 EA was putting on this image, oh hey, we fixed our issues, we learned from the past mistakes, here's free deal. And yet, in my opinion, this is way worse than one had like barely any content. But I don't know.
It sucks too, because a game that nobody's talking about right now is Need for Speed Payback,
which is pretty bad as well.
I mean, they've locked down the progression of the game in that game so much that you have to continue to replay races over and over again to get credits in order to upgrade your car or buy a new vehicle or whatever it may be. And if you guys have ever played a racing game before, which I'm sure you guys have played, like Forza Horizon or something like that, or Gran Turismo maybe back in the day, or old Need for Speed games as an example, it's not fun to replay the same missions over and over again.
No, not at all.
So I mean,
absolutely not.
Even when you're, Need for Speed Underground for me is an example of a game that I really loved when I was younger, and having to replay missions because I failed to come in first was agonizing, but that was me just lacking the skill at that moment, or having to learn, the turns in a specific track in order to get better at that game. And that was just part of the game. But if I have to replay them, even if I am coming in first every time, just to earn enough credits to upgrade the car so that way I can move into the next class, otherwise I'm stuck, you're locking out an entire portion of the game that you built into this $60 experience that I can't experience unless A, I put hundreds of hours into it, or B, give you more money. I gave you my money. You took my money. Stop. Give me the fucking shit that I paid for. And excuse my language, I know we're trying to clean this up, but this is ridiculous.
Yep. No, I totally agree. It's absurd. I mean, these companies are doing really gross, shady stuff, and they're refusing to talk about it. And when they try and talk about it, they're blatantly lying to everyone's face, which, that's what happened with the EA AMA that happened today. They're just, community managers are deleting tweets, all this stuff that's been, all these Reddit posts that are going up, they're just getting downvoted to heck because they're just awful. The initial, thing that sparked this whole Reddit controversy with EA, last time I checked it, which was early this morning, it was already at over 900,000 downvotes, which is just, consider, the previously most downvoted thing was 24,000. We're at almost 1 million downvotes. That's an unfathomable difference in number of downvotes.
That's I don't know, a 12-year-old kid who's really upset, and for some reason his 35-year-old mom has a Reddit account, and he's like, Mom, give me your Reddit account, I want to go downvote this thing again. So you've got all these accounts of people just spreading the word saying, hey, you might not know what's going on, but go downvote this.
Yeah, there's so many people downvoting it that it almost feels like you could be walking around in a mall and see 3 people that are actively downvoting it at that time.
Right, exactly.
You look around and just see a guy going, oh, yep, that's me. I agree. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope they take a major, major punch to sales from this. Which, by the way, I thought about something that we were talking about Disney earlier that I didn't think about. Number one, yeah, Star Wars is a Disney IP, right? Mm-hmm. But
yep.
If this press is this bad and it's just only going to get worse, aren't we less than a month away from the new Star Wars movie releasing?
We're almost exactly a month away.
Actually,
a month away tomorrow. Or
no,
actually today. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so right now was the worst time to get bad Star Wars news.
And that's kind of the question that I had earlier is it going to look bad on Disney / Lucas, Star Wars as a franchise?
Of course it does.
It looks all together to the point though where that it would negatively impact Star Wars movie sales. I think the answer is probably no.
No, probably not. Yeah, but I think Disney will still be pissed.
Bring down the hammer.
Oh yeah.
revoke that license. You guys like violated.
I don't think they're going to revoke the
contract.
I mean, maybe they do.
Well,
I don't know.
They can. Like if
Depends on the contract.
I'm
really.
sure there's language in the contract that says if you do damaging things with our IP, number one, like we can negate the contract, we can end the relationship, and B, like probably sue for damages. If you look at Star Wars and how important that IP is specifically to Disney and just like popular culture in general.
Oh yeah.
If you do damage to the franchise by like business tactics trying to get one over on customers and shit like that, like that ain't gonna fly. And Disney's got a lot more resources than you, EA. I'm sorry, you might think you have the gaming industry by the balls, but you don't know a damn thing about the entertainment industry and how much money that those guys have in their pockets.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, the Disney movies and stuff, regardless, they have their missteps, but they're pretty much known for quality, right? Quality, pleasing their customers, kind of giving you what you want, and even though you don't expect it, right? Like they rebooted Star Wars in a way that there are people that have their own opinions, but they rebooted Star Wars in a way that wasn't offensive. They made a new Star Wars movie. It's like, hey, it was a fun movie. Do you think it was better? It depends. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a great movie, but it's like they're doing this new franchise. They're doing great with it. They just announced they're going to make a whole nother trilogy. The last thing they want right now is for it to be tied to gambling with children. Come on. Oh my god. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, Mickey Mouse just gets hookers and does drugs in the bathroom. like that's not gonna happen. Could you imagine what happened if an artist went up into I don't know, some boardroom somewhere and is like, hey, look, here's my new Mickey cartoon. He's like, oh, hey, come on, Goofy, let's go do some crack. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, it's never gonna happen. Like, Disney would just fire that guy and then wipe everybody's, like, they have those MIB things. They just hold it up and just flash right in their face. Like, they're just gonna wipe everybody's memory and it's not gonna fly. I don't think they're gonna be happy about it at all.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's any sort of comment from Disney proper.
That'd be awesome. Oh my god,
it would be awesome,
dude. Talk about the Reddit outcry that would happen, or the praise, the Reddit praise to be like, thank you, Disney, our one true savior.
Yeah. One thing I'm kind of bummed about, and I don't know if you guys saw this, it's not really gaming related, but we were talking about Thor earlier, and now we're talking about Disney, but the Marvel, cinematic universe, the Marvel IP is owned by Disney, and it has been for a few years. Disney was in talks recently to try to acquire 21st Century Fox, which would then give X-Men and Fantastic Four back to Disney.
Yep.
And apparently that deal fell through. Which
oh,
is really,
no, I didn't
really
know about
sad.
that.
Dang it.
Yeah, so we could have had mutants in the Avengers, and having Wolverine in the Avengers, arguably one of the most important Avengers, would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, but man, we talk about loot boxes and microtransactions a lot on this show, and hopefully it stops. It's
not,
me
too.
It's not because we enjoy talking about it. It's because we feel like you, the audience, should be informed about the shady stuff that's happening. You may or may not agree with our opinions on the matter, but the fact is, we're heading down this path with games that when you buy a $60 game, you may or may not be getting a $60 game.
Yeah.
In most cases, especially with EA, you're not.
Apparently, you're getting a $2,060 game. That's what's happening.
Yes, exactly. The price that you could build a very, very nice computer for, or get a functional used car for.
But
guys, play their video game.
The Switch is so expensive.
It's so expensive.
$300 is too much money, but I'll spend $2,000. Oh my lord,
man. Well, go ahead.
I don't know. Did you have any? Was that it? Or sorry, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Well, I just wanted to end this show on a more positive note.
Yeah, let's do it. What's positive?
What's positive is ARMS got a new update, and ARMS has free DLC and no loot boxes.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Yeah, dude.
This happened while we were starting the podcast. There was a new character revealed along with their stage. Character's name is Miss Sango. I think.
Yeah, like Misango or Misango.
Yeah, he's like looks like an Aztec looking inspired warrior. Pretty cool. And he's actually got some really interesting abilities. He kind of reminds me of Shulk from Smash Bros, like how he can switch between his different arts because
Ooh,
I
he
guess
does
he
look
has this
cool.
he has this mask following him around, and what it looks like is that once the mask is a certain color and you do like a shield or a charge up, he will put on this mask, and then whatever color the mask is will like do his ability. Like I think red prevents like flinching damage, and then
So
blue
what you're
allows you to do longer dashes.
sounds like what you're saying right now is that Crash Bandicoot got added to ARMS. Ooga booga.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
look at him. He looks awesome. He's got these cool, like, I don't know what those like arms are. They're like I don't know, man. They look cool. They're like these little snake talon arms or something.
Yeah,
They look cool.
yeah. But I ultimately like. I think he looks like a really cool character. I might
They're
have to
scorpion
boot up the game
arms.
again.
Yeah, I might have to.
Oh, yeah.
I might have to open this up. Might have to do a little bit of streams of this or something later in the week.
Yeah.
Charlie back in arms.
Let's do it, man. I think the game's really fun. Is it the
Yeah,
best
it's
game
been a
ever?
while.
No, but it's fun.
Since I've last played, there's been quite a few notable updates, so I'd be eager to
Yeah, same.
see what they've improved. 'Cause
I haven't-
It's been quite a while.
Yeah, I haven't played with Ugly Clown Girl yet.
Always getting the breaking news, the scoops here on the SwitchCore podcast.
Yeah, man, big old scoops.
You know what? Speaking of arms not having loot boxes, you know, game does have a lot of loot chests and doesn't require you to buy anything to enjoy the whole game. And it's up for Game of the Year, Breath of the Wild. Remember that, everybody. Go vote for your favorite Game of the Year at Jeff Keighley's Game Awards.
You know what? You know what game's coming out that has loot boxes that you don't pay for that I still think aren't very good, but the game's probably gonna be okay. Xenoblade
that?
Chronicles 2.
Okay,
In-game loot boxes.
I'm gonna
I mean,
tell
it
you guys
does.
right. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
guys
it
right
does.
now. I'm probably gonna be living that game vicariously through each of you that plays it, because I'm probably not gonna pick that up.
I'll live stream it, so you can watch.
So
See what's going on.
So the loot before we like depending on this because from what it looks like they are random. They're kind of like you get these core crystals and you summon something and it seems to be random. So at the same time it could make for more replayability game just because it's so different play, or it could not.
Yeah.
To tell completely.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I've played games with a ton of characters like this before. So you look at the Suikoden games, or you look at like Chrono Cross, which had Chrono Cross is like I forget what the number was. It was some absurd number of characters that you could unlock, customize, put in your party, and go actually fight bosses with. Like it was like a huge number of characters. And the Suikoden games have like over 100 characters or something like that. That are all playable, that have gear, everything, right? And I would much prefer how they worked. They were all like these weird hidden characters that was like, depending on the time you are like, I guess the point in time of the game it is, and certain items you have, and what you say to who will determine which characters you get when, as opposed to just having it in a random box that you just grind for. Like, that's my only thing. I'm gonna get the game and I'm gonna play it, and I'm sure it's good. I just feel like that's a very bad game design, in my opinion.
And like know completely whether or not this system is completely randomized, or if there are things that go into determining what and who when you get these things. We'll just have to see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the impression that's random, but I mean, I could be wrong, and I'd be very happy if I was wrong.
all right, you guys want to shut this down?
Yeah, dude, let's do it.
Shut it down.
Let's do it,
Let's
guys.
shut it down.
Shut
all right.
EA down.
Thanks, guys, for watching our very first, if you did watch it, our very first live episode of the SwitchCore podcast via twitch.tv. This video, this live stream, will be will be placed onto YouTube as well. So if you missed some of this and want to check it out, that should be up, honestly, within probably a half an hour. Seems to be pretty quick when you migrate your VOD over to YouTube. I wanted to give a shout out to Ryan, our audio editor. He's probably got his work cut out for him today with some of the issues that we were having with some of these connection issues. On Drew's end. That's all right though. This is still a work in progress. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, right away. Thanks community. Thanks for the live listeners and viewers in the Discord chat. Of course, this will always be in audio form as well. You guys can check that out over at SwitchCore.net. Head over to our Discord server if you want to be a part of the action live. And thanks again for listening to the SwitchCore podcast, where our loot boxes are always fair and balanced. We'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.